Good morning from morning time where I am. Still in Boston on a Saturday morning. It's been a long couple weeks now at this point, and I wanted to give back to the CSDS community um, by offering a nice yoga practice to maybe help you work some things out in your mind. Meanwhile, understanding that a lot of us are still on full quarantine mode and are still cooped up, um, and may even be experiencing illness yourselves. Either way, I hope this is beneficial for you. I'm looking forward to being able to offer it to you as well. My name is Adrienne. I am a law student at Northeastern, and hopefully I've seen some of you guys in and out of the sacred space over the years. So to get prepared and spread out your mat, if you're in a place where you can have lots of room, that's awesome. Try and clear the immediate space around your mat as much as possible. If you have blocks, that's awesome. I understand that's kind of unusual. So if you have a couple good chunky books, you can stack those on top of each other, and those can substitute as blocks. And you might use blocks whenever you feel your natural flexibility not quite getting you to the floor. That'll bring the floor up closer to you so you don't have to strain as much in accessing the benefits of whatever postures we're trying to access. Brief overview, we're going to do, I guess, kind of a Vinyasa practice, and then towards the end we're going to go into some nice holds, slow things down. I wanted to give us the opportunity to maybe sit with the idea and the physical experience of discomfort, as a lot of people, including myself, are dealing with that as well. And the practice of yoga encourages us to not shy away from places of discomfort, whether that's a physical or mental aversion. So anyway, let's get moving. You didn't log on to listen to me talk. Okay, so find your place on your mat, and we'll start in a seated posture. So you can start kneeling like this. If this doesn't feel good on the knees or the ankles, or any other body part you're forgetting, feel free to take a seat any other way. That can be legs out in front, it can be folded in front of you. You can tuck a blanket up under your seat if that helps you to straighten the back. You can sit up on a block or a book. So let's drop into the seat. You can have the hands facing up on the knees or the thighs, or downward for a little bit more settling. Wherever you are, see if you can draw the shoulders back so they're in line and stacked over the hips. And the same with the head and neck. Maybe you're leaning forward a bit, see if you can draw the back of the head in space. So the full spine, including the neck, is stacked over the pelvis. And now start to monitor the breath. Sensing the belly moving outward and then inward as you exhale. Sensing the chest rise and fall. Again, notice whether your spinal alignment has shifted. See if we can realign, re-lengthen, feeling it drawing up through the back of the body, up through the top of the head, while still keeping a little bit of evenness to the breath. Now you can continue this just normal, natural breath, or I'm going to offer the Kapalabhati practice, which is just kind of a pumping of the belly to draw in and out the breath. It serves kind of to purify, get out stale air. I know for me this is the first physical thing I'm doing this morning, so I like to do this to kind of reset for the day. It's also a little bit energizing and heating. So if that doesn't sound good to you, again, feel free to just close the eyes, continue breathing softly. If you want to try Kapalabhati, you stay exactly where you are. All we're going to do is we'll take one big inhale and exhale together. So inhale deeply and exhale. Then we'll inhale about halfway, and then we'll start pressing out the air. So I prefer to keep my mouth closed while I do this, so my exhale is fully out my nostrils. If you're a little stuffed up today, it's okay to let the breath go out of the mouth. So anyway, we'll inhale halfway, and then we'll start pulling the belly button in towards the spine, and the air will press out. So inhale halfway. Three, two, one. Exhale fully. Hold it empty. And big inhale to the top and hold. Try to soften around that held breath at the top. And exhale. Couple natural breaths in and out. Just resetting here. And we'll do that twice more. So if you didn't like that, again, maybe take this time just to center around the breath, the natural breath. But if you're going to rejoin, we'll inhale halfway and then commence snapping the belly button in, which kind of results in almost like a gentle sneeze out. So inhale halfway and begin. Three, two, one. Exhale fully. Hold empty. Big inhale. Hold at the top. Maybe you tuck your chin a little. Soften the shoulders, still holding the breath. And exhale. Inhale to the top. Exhale. Two more times. Inhale fully. Exhale. Inhale fully. And exhale. So we'll do that one more time if you like. Inhale halfway. Begin. 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. Hold empty. Soften the eyes, the jaw. Still holding exhale. And inhale big. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale big. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Maybe roll the neck out. Switch directions. All right, thank you for entertaining me with that. Enjoying it. So we'll flip over onto hands and knees. And then we'll walk the knees back until we find ourselves on the belly. So here in the belly, we're going to start, it's just a few warm-up cobras. So we'll place the palms under the shoulders. The elbows are hugged in towards the sides of the body rather than bowing out away from the body. So we'll put the forehead down on the mat, and the tops of the feet are pressed down onto the mat. Hopefully you can kind of see back here. So you have pointed toes, pressing them down into the tops of the mat as much as possible. You might be able to lift the knees up off the mat, though that's not common, so it's okay if that's not happening for you. And if this is making your feet cramp, it's totally okay to tuck the toes. But if you can, have the toes untucked, palms pressing widely down underneath the shoulders, and all we're going to do is keep the neck long and start to raise the chest away from the ground. So you're continuing to press into the tops of those feet. Maybe you drag the palms back and space so the elbows are drawing towards the feet. Maybe that opens up the collarbones a little bit more. Take a couple breaths up here. Engage the belly button, the abdominals. And lower down, you can press the left cheek on the mat. Maybe rock the hips side to side. Then the forehead back to the center. Pressing into the palms, raise the chest back up. Again, pressing into the tops of the feet, maybe dragging the elbows and the palms back towards your feet. Elbows close to the ribs. Belly button is engaged. Inhale, press a little bit more. And release down to the mat. Your right cheek can turn. Press on the mat. Hopefully you can still hear me. Maybe rock the hips side to side. And then we'll bring the forehead back down to the mat. This time, I'm going to scoot back on my mat. So if you have anything directly in front of you, maybe wiggle away from that for a second. We're going to do the same thing. So we'll inhale, we'll lift up. So we're in our little baby cobra. And we'll inhale the arms out in front. And exhale, draw the elbows wide like goalposts or cactus. And pull the elbows back towards the ribs, the shoulder blades. Pulling together on the back. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw back. Inhale forward, neck is long. Exhale, draw back. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw back. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw back. Place the palms under the shoulders and release. Rock the hips side to side. So just warming up the back body and the low back a little bit. Although if you feel any crunching, that means maybe you should bring down the angle of your chest away from the ground. So we'll do something similar, but different. So we'll inhale the chest up away. Again, shoulders roll down and back away from the ears. Feel the shoulder blades on the back, pulling towards one another. This time, we're going to just put our hands out on those goalposts. And then we're going to kind of rotate the elbows up towards the ceiling. And then replace the position so you have your palms and your hands up and the elbows down. So palms down, elbows up, and reverse. Remember to breathe. Remember to press into the tops of the feet. You might start to feel the backs of the arms and the shoulders waking up. Keep breathing. One more time. And regular cactus flat, so you're parallel, and release. Whew. Wiggle out the low back. You can rest the palms down by the side for a minute. And we'll go into one more variation. So hands under the shoulders, pressing into the tops of the feet. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. And we'll raise up into a little cobra. And this time we're going to have the arms kind of in a diamond shape out in front of us. So fingertips are touching, elbows are lifted. And here I'm starting to have a little trouble talking, breathing, and pulling that belly button in towards my spine to support the low back. Pressing into the tops of the feet. And all we're gonna do is raise this shape up above the ears and down, little pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and hold. And relax. Ooh, shoulders are mat, wiggle out the hips. Okay. So now you can take any of those. You can just take your little baby cobra if you like that. Or if you want to start to warm up the shoulders, you can release them back behind you. You're going to start to stretch the arms back. Maybe the two hands find each other. And maybe this is all you get. Nice bent elbows. Press into the tops of the feet, engage the belly button, and start to lift the chest away from the mat again. Pull those fists back towards the feet. Roll the shoulders down and away from the ears, down the back. Pulling the shoulder blades together. And your fists, again, they may stay like right at your low back like this. Or you may be able to start to extend the arms straight. Collarbones broadening. And breathing. Neck is still long. Take one more breath. And release the arms, the chest. Let the shoulders flop down around the chest. And wiggle the hips. I think what I have next is we're just going to press back into our tabletop. So your low back may be asking for a little coddling right now. So all you're going to do is your regular cat-cow. So you drop the belly, tilt the hips up towards the ceiling, look up. On the exhale, press the floor away. Pry the shoulder blades away from each other across the back and pull the belly button up into the spine arch. You can let the head drop last. Inhale, low belly, head looks up, hip goes up. Exhale, press the floor away with the knees and the hands, arch the other way. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then here, we're going to tuck the toes. We're going to press into the hands, make sure the fingers and the palms are spread really wide, so you're getting out of the wrists and more forward into the fingertips and the palms. And you're going to kind of zip up the abdominals. So you're pulling the belly button towards the spine. You're pressing the floor away. You're spreading the shoulder blades across the back. The toes are tucked, and then you're going to just lift the knees an inch off the ground. I'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Sit back on the heels. Maybe shake out the arms. Take a couple breaths here. Then we'll go back forward into that tabletop. Palms under shoulders, knees under hips. Tuck the toes. We'll do it one more time. Inhale, press the floor away, and the knees lift. Pulling the belly button up towards the spine. rather than lowering, we're just going to start marching forward and back. One foot at a time, one hand at a time. When you run out of space, start going backwards. Still pulling the belly button in towards the spine. Little baby steps. Pressing the floor away, still trying to keep your hips and shoulders even and parallel towards the ground. And we'll go back one more time. Forward. Whew. And backwards. And lower the knees, sit back on the heels. Shake out the arms and chest. Whew. And then we'll come back into the tabletop. This time we're going to start walking the hands out in front of us, trying to keep the hips over the knees as we lower the chest down towards the mat. And you'll have your forehead just hovering, or maybe it touches. And you can rest here, maybe work to walk the fingertips out a little more. If you feel really open in the chest, maybe one day it'll come meet the floor. And see if you can press the whole palm with the spread fingers across the mat to push up away from the floor while letting the chest and head melt between the shoulders. Deep breaths. And lastly, see if you can pull the belly button in a little bit rather than let the hips just totally bow up. We want to do a little bit of support so we have a nice long back. And maybe even feeling a little bit of drawing back in the hips. So the pelvis is moving away from the shoulders and the hands, drawing back in space. Now you can either walk back to your tabletop, or we're going to find ourselves back on the belly. We're going to do a couple of my favorite chest stretches to open up the shoulders and the front of your chest. So we'll put the arms wide in a T. If you have anything around you, push it away. So first what we'll do the left side. So if your arms are parallel in a T, walk the left one forward just a few inches. So it's on a diagonal, and it's above the shoulder. And you're going to walk the fingertips out away from you. You'll start to feel that stretch. And then you'll place the palm next to the face. And you'll start to roll over onto the left shoulder. And you might just be right here, pressing the floor away, starting to feel that inner shoulder stretching up. You might bend the right knee up towards the ceiling, step it down on the ground behind the left leg. Breathing throughout. Maybe walk those left fingertips, the one on the stretching arm, away from you even more. Maybe you press that left palm into the ground, the one behind you. This is an intense stretch, but see if by closing the eyes, softening them, softening the facial muscles, you can relax into the pose a bit more. And even out the breath. If you had the leg up, place it back down. We're going to flip down onto the belly, gently, gently, gently. And maybe wiggle the hips. And now the right arm crawls out to that diagonal position above the right shoulder. And walk the fingertips out away from you as much as you can. You'll start to feel a stretch on the shoulder, the right shoulder. And then you'll plant the left palm on the left side of the face. Start to roll over onto the right side. Now we're stretching the inner shoulder on the right side. And maybe walk those fingers a little bit more, the right fingers away from the body. Pressing the front, that right palm into the ground. And maybe bend the left leg out towards the ceiling and deepen the stretch a bit more. Get a little twist. What is your breath doing? See if you can slow it down, even it out. See if by softening the face, you can relax into this discomfort. By removing your bracing, your defense mechanisms, see if you can find yourself in a deeper, more nourishing posture. A few more breaths. And then we'll again gingerly roll back onto the belly to center. And you can let the arms rest out in a cactus, forehead on the ground, shake the hips. And last on our belly, we're going to do my favorite outer shoulder stretch. That was just inner. Now we're going to go to the outer. In theory, it's really easy. You're just going to cross. Let's do the right arm over the left. So you're trying to cross a little bit above your elbows. Everyone's arms are super different and everyone's shoulders are very different, regardless of flexibility. You might be super muscular, maybe the opposite. But either way, that's going to affect where your chin is, where your arms are, and where the floor is relative to your body. But similar to the last pose, we're going to walk both fingers out away from each other. And you'll start to feel a stretch on both shoulders. And then you can start to lower the head. If this feels kind of suffocating to you, don't do it. You can start to walk the fingers out and maybe like back a little bit. So your head is more forward of the shoulders. And I've tucked my toes so I can kind of push myself forward, so I can feel this a little more intensely on the outside. So if you lean to the left, you're going to feel greater stretch on the outer right arm. That's kind of the top arm closest to your face. If you lean to the right, you're going to feel a stretch on the outside of the left arm, the lower arm, this one. You can release the face down again. You're going to feel some, everything's going to be all kind of smushed together in your throat. So just make sure you can breathe. As you breathe, you might start to sense your face coming closer to the mat. What? All right, to back out, just start to draw the arms back across. And you can kind of just rest here. Again, let the shoulders roll down towards the mat. Cheek can be on either side, or if you like, forehead to the mat. And we'll do that the other way. So this time, the left arm is going to be on top, right underneath. Walk them away from each other, the fingers. And start to lower the head and the chest down to the mat. If you want to feel more stretch on the right side, you're going to lean to the left. If you want to feel more stretch on the right side, lean. I think I just said that already. If you want to feel a stretch on the right, lean to the left. If you want to feel a stretch on the left, lean to the right. Maybe you're able to walk the fingers out away from one another again. It should feel intense, but you shouldn't feel any pulling or kind of like the stringiness of your muscle fibers. If that's the case, just back out a little bit. We close the eyes. even out the breath, which means your inhale occurs over about the same length of time as your smooth exhale. All right, we're gonna back up out of this. Woo. Push the hands under the shoulders, press the floor away, find yourself in tabletop again. I'm gonna walk the knees under the hips, palms under the shoulders. We'll do one last nice grounded floor stretch. We're gonna press into the left palm, sweep the right arm up, open up to the side, maybe look up towards the right thumb. Inhale up here, and exhale, curve the right arm underneath and across the body, underneath that left arm. And glide the shoulder down towards the mat. We'll inhale, press into the left hand, sweep the right arm up again. Do that one more time. Inhale once up, and exhale. This time, we'll leave the shoulder on the mat. And stretch the outer shoulder. Starting to feel it twist in the back. You can continue to press the floor away with that left hand. Or you can walk the left hand out in front of you, feeling more length in the spine this way. Again, see if you can draw the belly up towards the spine rather than let the belly hang loose entirely. And feel the hips drawing back in space, trying to keep the two hips more or less parallel above the mat. So you're probably going to have to pull the right hip up. And the left hand is out in space, bring it alongside the face, press into it, sweep. Pull slowly the right arm up. And replace the right arm down. We'll do that on the opposite side now. So inhale, sweep the left arm up, look up. Exhale, prep. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This time, place the shoulder on the ground. Feel the two hips drawing back in space. Draw the belly button back into the spine gently. You can keep the palm up, or you can flip it down and maybe walk the fingers away from you to intensify the outer left shoulder stretch. Your head's looking sideways. So you're on the left side of the head. And feeling the two hips approaching parallel away from the mat. So this time your left hip you might have to draw up. Okay, walk the right hand back close to your face. Sweep the left arm up, open up. Exhale, replace. Walk the hands out a little bit in front of you, tuck the toes, and shift the hips back and up, finding your first down dog, finally. So you might start with nice bent knees, press the hips up and back, pressing the full spread palm, trying to press into the fingertips and the knuckles so you can get your weight out of your wrists. You come up onto toes, then one knee and then the other, gradually lengthening out the backs of the legs. Again, see if you can lift the belly up towards the spine, pressing into the hands so you lengthen the spine, feeling the hips draw back in space. And we're going to shift forward through plank, and then we're going to keep the toes tucked, lower the belly, and draw the chest through the shoulders to a modified up dog. Take a couple breaths here, still pressing into the palms. You can have slightly bent arms. And then pull the hips up and back, down, dog. Exhale. And we'll flow through that a couple times. It's a little strenuous on the arms and the shoulders, so I'll be kind. So inhale forward, lower the belly, chest and head up. Exhale, press back. Inhale, up dog-ish. And exhale, hips up and back. One more time. Inhale forward, lower the belly, chest and head looks up. Exhale, back. You can lower the knees. And a little child's pose. Inhaling, press and spread the back body. We'll lift back up into down dog. And then we'll just slowly step our way up to the front of the mat, finding a nice forward fold. Really generously bent knees, so your chest, your torso can drape, actually make contact with the legs. You can let the hands hang. You can clasp opposite elbows to add a little more weight. Just let the gravity pull down on your upper body. Breathing in and out. Maybe close the eyes, see what that does for your balance. Maybe you sway side to side. You start to feel the two hip points pulling up in space, away from the floor. See what it feels like to shift your weight forward into the toes, and then back towards the heels, forward into the toes. Maybe shake the head out. Yes and no. Release the arms if you have them caught. Bending the knees, just sweep the arms out and up, and gradually let them meet up overhead. Inhale at the top, and exhale, float the hands down by the side. Palms facing forward, close the eyes. You tuck the chin slightly so you feel nice and long through the back of the neck and head. Engage the legs, pulling the kneecaps up. A little tightening in the glutes, pulling the belly button in towards the spine. You just feel really strong and stacked. You spread the toes out a little bit, and then replace them on the mat. And then draw up the inner edges of your feet. So lifting those arches away from the floor. Couple breaths. Just soften, feeling the shoulders melt down away from the ears. Relax the fingers, maybe have them dance a little. Release a little stress that you might automatically grip in those fingers. Roll the shoulders up and back. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, shoulders down and back. All right, inhale, look up, hands up. Exhale, fold through center, down over the legs. Inhale, we'll lift the chest halfway. Fingers might come onto the shins or thighs. Press into the legs, feeling the hips draw back, let the head go forward. Exhale, fold. You're gonna plant the hands, so bend your knees as much as you need to. Step both feet back so you're in a plank. And here we're gonna lower down to the mat slowly. So bend the elbows and send the elbows back towards the feet. Don't let them bow out to the side until you find yourself down on the mat. So we'll find our Cobra again, pressing into the palms. Lift the shoulders and the chest away from the mat. Exhale, back down. Widen the hands, draw the elbow points up towards the ceiling. Press into those fingertips, kind of like a spider cobra. And go down. Replace the palms, tuck the toes. You can shift back through chair, child's pose, but then find yourself in down dog. 3 breaths here. After your third breath is emptied, raise up onto the toes, bend the knees, look forward, and we'll step towards the front of the mat. Find that halfway lift again. Fold, press into the feet, roll up, and exhale, hands through heart center and down by the side. One more time, inhale, hands up, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, press the shins away. Exhale, fold, step left, then right foot back, holding in plank. Exhale, bend the elbows, lower to the untuck the toes from your low cobra. Exhale. Wide fingers, elbows up. Inhale. Exhale. And place the palms under the shoulders, tuck the toes, knees up and back, hips up and back. Down dog, 3 breaths. After third breath is emptied, raise up onto the toes and the knees. You can step forward or you can hop to the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, the hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step right and left, holding in your plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. One more time, low cobra. Exhale. Wide spider cobra. Inhale. Exhale. Replace the palms, tuck the toes, hips up and back. Down dog. 3 breaths. Your third breath is empty. Again, raise up onto the toes, bend the knees, and then maybe hop forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hold at center, maybe close the eyes, and unfurl the arms, palms facing forward. Take a couple breaths here. Just gonna check my notes. So here in your mountain pose, sweep the arms up, exhale down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant the palms, step right, then left, and plank. Now lower down all the way. Your cobra, inhale. Exhale. Wide cobra, inhale. Exhale. Plant the palms, press the hips up and back. Down dog. Inhale your your right leg back in space, up. And then bend the knee and maybe open it up towards the sky. Continue to press down into your right palm, trying to keep most of the chest facing down towards the mat, but still pulling the right knee up towards the ceiling. You can do some hip circles here. And then if you'd like, since we're nice and open in the chest from those floor stretches, you can rotate on the foot and flip the dog. So you keep your left shoulder, left arm on the mat, and then maybe right arm goes up to the ceiling. The 2 hips are facing the ceiling, lifting the hips up, engage the belly. Maybe hand comes to rest on the chest, still pressing the floor away with the left hand. Come back through center, press to down dog. Maybe we'll do the next side. Left leg back, and then bend the left knee, lifting it up towards the ceiling, opening up the hips, gentle twist again, trying to keep the chest facing towards the mat. Maybe you take the hip circles. And then maybe you flip the dog on the other side. Knees facing backwards, hips facing up. Press the floor away with the right arm. Keep breathing. And coming back through center. Find your down dog. Coming down onto the knees. Sit back onto the heels. Couple breaths to settle. Straight, long spine. You can close the eyes. We'll raise up onto our knees. And you can keep the hands supporting the low back here. So the fingertips can either place face down like this, your elbows pulling together, or you can have your thumbs right there with the elbows kind of on the sides of your hips. Or with your, everyone, you should try this, but knees should be under the hip points, bony parts of your hip. So they're more or less straight underneath you. You can bring your hands in front of the heart like this, or you can grab shoulders. What we're going to do is inhale and exhale, lean back. So we're pressing the hips forward, trying to keep a nice long line in the spine, just tilting backwards towards the feet. Come forward, inhale, exhale, and hold. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Do one more. Feel this in your quads. Inhale, exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Up through center. Come back down. Woo. Close the eyes. Release the arms. Palms facing up. Okay, come back to kneeling. You can have the hands on the hips if you like for this, or you can keep them at heart center for a little challenge. You're going to step the right foot forward into lunge. Step it back to kneeling. Left foot forward, woo, to lunge. So we're starting to play with balance here. Back. So we'll do that a few more times. Right foot forward, right foot back to kneeling. Left foot forward, left foot back to kneeling. Right foot forward. This time, step the left foot to meet it into your chair. Step the left foot backwards, and the right to kneeling. Step the left foot forward, and the right foot forward to chair. Step the right foot back, and the left to kneel. Do that a few more times. Right foot forward, left foot forward, chair. Extend the arms. Hands back to heart. Left foot back, right foot back. Left foot forward, right to chair. Extend the arms. Back at heart center. Step right and left. And sit. Release the palms face up. Close the eyes. Alright, back up to kneeling. Step the right, then the left. Chair. We'll hold like this for a little bit. Nice even breath. Feel it kind of cascading down the spine, which is lengthening. Bring the hands to heart center. I'm going to twist over to the right, so link that left elbow towards the outside of the right leg. I'm going to try and twist the chest open to the right. And you can make a fist with your lower hand, your left hand, and press with the right into it. Try and broaden the shoulders. Drawing both hips back. Breathing. And then put the weight into your right foot. So maybe you come up onto the toes of your left. And then you lift it and step back. Whew. Twisting lunge. Couple breaths here. Still pressing the hands together to try to open the shoulders and the chest. And then step forward, maybe look down to that right foot. Find yourself twisting chair again. And weight into right foot, step back. And forward. One more time. Step back. And forward. Regular chair. Whew, thighs are starting to burn. Maybe lower the seat a little lower. Hands to heart center. Inhale the spine long. Exhale, twist right arm. Right elbow hooks over left thigh. Pressing the two palms into one another to broaden the chest. Breathing, breathing. Now shift the weight into your left foot. Maybe looking down up onto the toe of the right. Hover it and then step back. Whew. Twisting lunge. Other side. Few breaths here. Pressing the left leg into the right elbow, and the right elbow into the left leg. Look forward at that left foot and step back, twisting chair. Step back, twisting lunge. Oops. Step forward, ooh, twisting chair. One more time. Twisting lunge. And twisting chair. Inhale forward. Couple breaths in regular chair, sink the hips, and fold over the legs. Widen the feet out so they're hips width distance. And shake it out. Just let the body drape. Fold it at the hips. Let the head hang. Do a couple halfway lifts here, so bring the hands to the shins, look forward, stretch out that spine. Exhale, hold. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Sweep the arms up, roll all the way up, just for a little vertical break. And hands through heart center, down by the sides. Close the eyes, let the breath catch up. At least I know I need that. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step the left foot back. So you're in a low lunge. Maybe shift forward and back. Feel a nice stretch on the front of your left leg, that hip flexor. And here we're going to plant the palm of the left hand and turn all of our toes to face right, this side of the mat, the long edge. And then maybe you walk the right foot down a little bit. And we're just going to, you're starting to feel a nice stretch on the outer right hip. So we're going to dip the hips down towards the mat and then push them back up. Woo. Maybe hands up. Yep. And then to reach back towards the left foot. Woo. Inhale, sweep the arm overhead. Both hips press up to the sky. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale. Arm overhead. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. And we'll sweep the arms down, face forward. And then straighten both legs. And fold over the front leg as much as you can. If you have those blocks or books, maybe you do that there. Whew. And this one. The legs are nice and wide, so you can bend back into the front leg and fold, straighten both legs, shifting hips back. One more time. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, look forward. We're going to, this time, press into the left palm. So we're in that twisting side lunge again, stretching the left hip. But this time, we're going to step the top foot onto the left, coming into side plank. You can stay like this. You can lower bottom knee, just the left knee down to the mat. Either way, see if you can stretch an arm overhead, maybe over the top of the ear. Keep pressing the floor away. See how I straighten my arm like that. And if you're in full side plank, I'll step into it with you. And I do 3 dips. 1, 2, 3. And come back through center. Lower down to the mat. Little cobra. Exhale. Find your down dog. 3 breaths. Inhale, come up onto the toes. Exhale, shift back and spin forward if you're jumping, or make your way to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into the feet, roll all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Hurry, other side. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, I'm going to step the right foot back now. So I'm going to start facing away from you, but hopefully you can hear my voice okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to press this time the right palm into the mat underneath the right shoulder. Turn all 10 toes to face the left side of the mat. Maybe you walk the left foot down so it's right underneath the right knee. Keep pressing the floor away, and you start to feel a nice outer hip stretch. So we'll inhale, lower the hips to the mat, reach the left arm back towards the right foot. Inhale up overhead, pressing both hips up to the sky. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward. Inhale back, exhale forward, and sweep both arms down. Press both hips back, fold over the left leg. Few breaths here. And then we'll bend the left knee, come forward. Chest and head look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. We'll find ourselves back in that side lunge, outer hip stretch. So again, both sets of feet pointing out towards the left. And then press the hips up by pressing the right palm into the mat. And maybe you step the left foot back on top of the right into side plank. And then maybe you take your modified by lowering the bottom right knee right under the hip. But if you're finding your full side plank, you're just going to do 3 dips. 1, 2, 3. And find yourself back in regular plank, lower all the way down. Over. Exhale, tuck the toes, shift the hips back. Down dog. 3 breaths here. And then exhale, come onto the tops of the toes, step or hop forward, halfway lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, hands at heart center. Rotate them down by the sides. Close the eyes. Lower the chin. Feel the breath slowing down. The arms out and up, look up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant the palms. All we're gonna do is step the right foot towards the back of the mat. Shift both feet so they're parallel facing, so train tracks far apart. So you're in a kind of wide straddle, a wide forward fold, and all your toes are facing the right side of the mat. You can bend your knees as much as you need to, see if you can get hands or fingertips underneath the shoulders on the floor. Again, if you have books, that's really helpful. Run into there, see how that brings the floor back up to you. But you'll press into whichever surface is under the hands. Maybe shift the weight forward into the toes a little bit more. Inhale, and exhale, fold over the legs. And we'll just stay here for a few cycles of breath. Lengthening the backs of the legs. Again, see if you can shift maybe into the toe side of your foot rather than the heels. See what that feels like. Feeling gravity pull the head and then the spine down towards the floor, away from the hips. Slow practice for me is freeing the rest of my body from my pelvis. Gravity can be really helpful to assist in that lifelong quest. Walk the hands out in front of you. We're going to bend the right knee and maybe sink the hips back towards the back of the room. Maybe the hips come down towards the foot. You're still floating, but all of your weight's kind of in your right foot. Maybe the toes come up towards the face. Maybe the arms can float out in front of you. Maybe you can link this right forearm in front of the right knee to press both of those, the knee and the forearm, into each other. So you get a nice inner thigh stretch and we're still broadening the shoulder blades. And then you can release the hands, walk down the side. We're gonna bend into the left leg. Same thing here. If it's accessible, left forearm and knee press into one another. Maybe you find prayer hands. Get the inner thigh stretch on the left leg. You're also getting it on this right inner line. And we'll walk back, left to the right, maybe you hold, and over to the left. One more time, right, and left. We're going to spin onto the right ball of the foot, finding ourselves in the low lunge, and step back to plank, and down dog. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, come up to the tops of feet, bend the knees, look forward, hop or step, halfway lift, exhale, hold, and just stay here, maybe walk the feet out so they're hips width again. Slip the palms under both feet, so your toes wiggle into the wrists. And maybe this is great for you. Get a little wrist massage. If you have your knees bent, that's great. That'll allow you to still get length in your back. I'm bending my knees nice right here. And maybe you're able to bend your elbows as well to pull the head down towards the floor. If you like, you can shift forward into the toes a little bit, playing with balance. Back in the heels. And maybe you start to straighten the knees, not locking, just straightening them, feeling the two hip points drawing up towards the ceiling. And you can use your bent knees again to pull the head down towards the floor. Release the palms. Shake it out. And you can fold, regular. And then sweep the arms up, roll up. And the heart center. We're going to come down into a squat here. So maybe the whole foot, both feet, move out away from the center of your mat. Toes pointing out, heels in. And you can keep the hands at heart center. Keep on the hips. We're just going to bend the knees, come down towards the mat, trying to keep the knees pointing in the same direction as the toes. And then using the elbows to press the collarbones open, same as we've been doing in all kinds of positions. And while you're here, see if you can engage the root bandha, mula bandha, in pedestrian terms, that's clenching your P muscle. So like you're trying to hold in when you have to use the bathroom really badly. You'll feel drawing up through your pelvic floor. Maybe that passes on into your lower abdominals. You just feel a little lift up out of the heels, out of the feet. Maybe you press the elbows in to the inner thighs and press the thighs into the elbows. Now release the hands. Turn the feet to face forward and parallel. A little layover in the forward fold with wide legs. And then we'll play with crow. If you have a crow practice, fly into it. If you want a little reminder, step by step, what we'll do is we'll walk the feet in towards one another. We'll come to stand on the toes. You can bend the knees, so you bring the seat low. And we're going to widen the knees, so the two arms are between the knees. And we have, as usual, the palms placed underneath the shoulders, palms spread wide. And what we're going to do is we're going to slowly lift the hips, and we'll keep a nice bend, kind of like chaturanga when we lower to the floor and plank. Keep a nice bend in the arms, elbows pointing backwards. And we'll start to shift forward and back, forward and back, Maybe when you shift forward, you lift one leg up, and then shift forward, other leg up. And that might be your practice for today. That's awesome. So you can see I'm out of breath, just telling you all about it. If you want to lift up and maybe hold both feet. And you're zipping in, you're pressing into the full palm, pulling the belly button in, looking forward, not down. And just come back down to earth. You can walk the feet out a little bit if a squat is relaxing after, or you can just sit on your bum, which is what I'm going to do, and catch up with the breath. Alright. So naturally, with the seat on the floor, bring the two soles of the feet in front of you into me. They can be out far away if that's, and the knees can be super far up. That's okay. If you're able to, walk the feet in. We're just going to start to get a nice groin and outer hip stretch. And again, knees can be way up in the air. Over time, they'll find themselves closer to earth. But if you can find your feet or your shins, see if you can pull the chest through, nice straight back. Your elbows so you can kind of see. Trying to do this. And if your elbows are on the thighs, maybe you can press them down. If ever you feel any twinges in your knees, back off. But I'm going to start folding over the legs. Trying to keep the spine straight for as long as possible. And when you feel that you've hit that point where you need to bend the spine, that's okay. Recognize that point and just sit there for a little bit. Maybe close the eyes. Just identify that you found a little boundary. And then just roll the spine down. Relax. Let the shoulders slump. And again, let gravity take its toll on your head to stretch out the back of the body, lengthening the spine. Gravity is also doing a number on your outer hips by pulling the two knees down and away from each other without you doing anything. So let's take 5 long breaths here, your own time. Trying to even out the inhale with the exhale. Come out, just do so slowly. Maybe find that spot again where your spine finds straightness, and then sit back onto the hips. Maybe rock it out a little bit. Okay, you can stretch the legs out in front, shake it out. Next pose can be a little trying on the knees. So just take care. If something starts to feel bad, come out of it. So we'll try it and we'll see how it goes, and then if it's not so great, we'll try and modify for you. So we're going to bend the right knee, and we're going to kind of swing it around side. I don't know if you've ever seen a hurdler, like in track. That's kind of what it looks like. So then we're going to bring the knee back in towards the knee of the straight leg, the left leg. So now you have your right foot on the outside of your right hip. And this, here, grab a book. Grab your book or your block or your blanket. You can sit it right underneath the hips. And this will set the example of the, quote unquote, ideal positioning. But with this little lift, you have the right foot on the outside of the right hip. You have both knees and hips pointing forward, but you have the added inner rotation of the right leg. while the left one isn't doing that so much. And then you want to try without the assistance of the block. That'll lower both hips back down to the mat. That'll intensify the inward rotation of the right leg and the sensation in the outer hip along the top of the shin and the foot. You can stay like this, or you can start to walk the hands back. And as you do so, try and keep the right hip heavy. So like nearly every pose we've done where I've given you a reminder to try and keep the two hips parallel above the mat, we're doing the same thing here. So you might start to walk the hips back, maybe come onto forearms, maybe come onto just one forearm, that's okay. But if you come onto two, it's okay if your knees separate a little bit. I'm telling myself it's okay, so I hope yoga traditionalists aren't too mad. You'll feel a nice, powerful stretch on the right quad. And try and keep heavy in the right hip. If you have forearms or elbows on the ground, see if you can press into them, which lifts the shoulders up away from the pelvis again, freeing the spine from the pelvis. A few more breaths wherever you are. If you're on the ground back here, it's crazy. And then slowly guide yourself back up to upright if you are in anything but. Sweep the right arm up to meet the left and shake it out. Returning some circulation to the right foot. Now I'll do it on the left side. So find that hurdle stretch, bringing the left knee to the left and the left foot is behind it. And then maybe you walk the left knee in towards the right of the straight right leg. So your two hips are sitting to the right of your left foot. Again, you might find that block to sit up, trying to square both hip points to face forward, both knees to face forward, and you feel the sensation in the outer left hip. And that left thigh has the inward rotation now. Maybe you walk back onto palms. Maybe you walk back onto forearms. Maybe you're able to lay the whole torso back on the mat. I don't like to do that because I have a crotchety lower back, like an old lady. And if you are on the forearms or the elbows, press them into the ground to raise the chest up towards the ceiling, and then maybe guide the torso back away from the hips while keeping the hips heavy. So you feel a little bit of lengthening in the low back. You feel the stretch in the left quad. And again, try to draw the left hip down to the ground. In line with the right. Few breaths here. Back yourself back up to upright, swing the left leg to meet the right, shake it out. I'm going to do my last and favorite hip stretch, seated hip stretch. But first, we're going to take advantage of a little twist. So just walk the right foot in, bend the right knee, place the right hand behind the back. Maybe this is your twist, maybe you extend the left arm up, bend the elbow and hook it on the outside of the right knee. Starting to twist open towards the right. Pressing into the back palm to straighten the torso, lengthen out. Maybe you just hold the knee. And see if you can flex the left toes back towards your face. Keep the left leg engaged, long and straight. Maybe you look over your left shoulder, but only if the majority of your spine is also interested in making this twist to the right. Few breaths. And we'll come out, come to face forward, extend the right leg, and we'll go on the other side, bending the left knee, stepping the left foot in towards the pelvis. Left arm steps behind you, press into that palm. Maybe you extend the right arm up. Maybe you hook it in front of the left knee and start to turn towards the left, towards the back. Maybe you just hug the knee in. Wherever you are, press into the floor with everything that's touching it. Try to lift up out of the pelvis, lengthening the spine. Flex the right toes back towards the face, engage the right leg. Keep it nice and long and strong. And we'll circle back towards front, extend the legs out long. Okay, now we'll do my favorite hip stretch. So all we're gonna do is bend both legs and actually come onto tabletop. And what we'll do is we're gonna cross the right leg in front of the left. So now you have your two shins kind of at diagonal. Knees are kind of knitted into one another, nested, and then you start to shift the hips back. And you might feel yourself say, this is it, I'm gonna stay like this, that's awesome. The place that you should feel the beneficial sensation is in the outer hips. It might be the left hip, which is where I have it for the majority now. It might also be the right hip. If it's in the knees, just back out, don't do this at all. And you can maybe go back into Cobras pose, which was the, or butterfly pose, and a lot of people know it as, with the 2 feet together. But maybe you're able to guide the hips back like this and come to sit between the 2 feet. And try and walk the 2 heels out, so you're approaching parallel with the 2 feet, the 2 shins. It's very unlikely that you get parallel while still keeping the knees stacked on one another. This is incredibly intense. You're going to try and keep the feet flexed while you do this. So you're pressing the floor away with the outer edges of both feet, and that's again to protect the knees. If you feel twinges in the knees, walk those 2 feet back. So you're less parallel, and they're kind of just in the outer sides of the hips. But find your point of intensity where you want to work. And then maybe you just sit upright. And again, trying to keep a nice long back. Maybe you start to walk the arms forward. We're trying to keep, as best as we can, both hip points on the floor. So for me, with this right leg on top, it's that right hip that's going to want to come up sooner. So just see if you can consciously guide it back towards the floor as you start to walk forward. And again, you identify that point where you can no longer have a straight back. Take a few breaths there, get to know that spot. And then you can allow yourself to cascade over the thighs. At this point, your mind may be grasping for stray thoughts, either because the physical sensation is incredibly challenging, or the sheer quiet. I don't have any music on or anything, maybe you do. But if it is indeed quiet, see if you can latch your attention onto your breath, in and out. See if you can even out the breath. Maybe you focus on those areas, sending signals to your brain where you're feeling that intense sensation. Maybe you just guide the breath mentally to those 2 areas. For me, the 2 areas are my outer hips. Spoiler alert. You might have more than start to back the hands up if you had come forward beyond the shins. And then slowly heel toe the feet towards another, and then you'll just, I guess, kind of sit in this funky hunch position where your feet are apart, knees are bent. See if you can bring the arms in front of the legs and just stretching out the groin. And then we'll go to the other side. So find yourself in tabletop. This time you're going to step the left knee in front of the right. All right. Okay. Yes. And you'll start to guide the hips back, stopping where you need to until you find the hips close to the floor. If you do want to sit back towards the legs, you can also sit on a block. But if the seat is on the ground, again, with the left leg on top, it's going to be the left hip that wants to inch away from the floor. So just draw your attention to that left hip. See if you can keep it in line more or less with the much heavier right hip, since it has the weight of the left on top of it to keep the right hip down on the ground. Maybe you've walked those heels forward so the shins approach parallel. We're trying to keep the knees stacked. The feet are flexed, so the outer edges of the feet are pressing the floor away. We're protecting the knees and doing that. So for me, I feel a lot of intense stretch on my outer right hip. But as I start to go forward, I'm going to start to feel it in my left as well. You might feel it in all kinds of places, maybe in your low back. Let's see if we can quiet down a little. Use your breath as an excuse to focus. The object of your focus. Alright, start to walk the torso back to upright, sitting back into the hips, and slowly heel toe the feet in. Find that nice casual hunch. And walk the feet out in front of you, scoot the hips forward on the mat if you were back towards it. Move any props out of the way, and slowly guide the back onto the ground. So we're really going to finish up now. You can bend the knees up towards the ceiling, feet out towards the edges of the mat. Maybe you let the knees fall into one another. Hands can drape out, palms facing up. You can stay here as long as you like. You can finish this way. Or you can extend the legs out long, letting the toes roll out, the heels roll in. Maybe you press the back of the head into the mat, so you're able to kind of lift the chest up and tuck the two shoulders underneath the chest. So by pulling those shoulder blades together, you're spreading the collarbones. Some of the shoulders can kind of melt out away from each other down towards the floor on either side of the chest. Take a nice deep breath in together. So inhale down into the belly. Hold. And exhale out the mouth. Do that twice more. Inhale. And hold at the top. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Hold at the top. Exhale everything out. Any more last wiggles you need. And then settle into your final rest in Shavasana. I'm going to allow you to remain in this position of reflection and integration as long as you like, rather than guide us through the end and potentially take you out of it before you need to. That's one of the silver linings of not practicing in person with a group in a class. When you are ready, just roll to one side, press yourself up to seated. Take a few quiet moments with eyes closed to soften the facial muscles. Feel lengthen the spine again. And maybe draw your attention to areas and people in the world that could really use the benefit of healing. Until you're ready to do that, I'm going to let you drop into space and relax. If you have an excellent rest of your day, or if it's evening, have a lovely evening and sleep. And I'll see you next time.